Once upon a time, in a small American town tucked between the ash-gray Appalachians and a river that shone like a dropped coin in sunlight, there lived a girl named Maya. This is her story, about the days when trying felt like lifting the sky, and what happened when she learned a different way to carry it. Maya woke before the bus hissed at the corner and the coffee cart steamed the morning air. She stared at a ceiling mapped with hairline cracks and thought of the list: work, night classes, her kid brother's school pickup, the rent due on Friday, her mother's latest doctor's appointment. Each item sat on her chest like a stone. She wasn't lazy. She was tired in the way that makes your bones ring. At the marketing agency downtown, the office smelled like printer ink and lemon cleaner. Her boss, Mr. Klein, said things like, "Crush the pipeline," and "Get it done yesterday," as if time were a sponge you could wring harder. Maya smiled, nodded, met deadlines. Inside, she kept hearing a soft, steady drip. Try harder, try harder. That night, she fell asleep on the bus and almost missed her stop. A kid's skateboard rattled in the aisle, a baby cried, a woman hummed into her wool scarf. The world seemed to move whether Maya could or not. When she finally stood, she felt an old ache flare in her ankle, a sprain from high school track, the year she learned that sometimes grit is just a quiet form of grief. Riverbend was the sort of place where the 4th of July parade still clogged Main Street and the high school football team dictated Friday night traffic. Diners served pancakes the size of hubcaps. People remembered funerals, casseroles, who used to work where. It was good, mostly. It was heavy, sometimes. Maya biked past the mural of the steel mill, closed since before she was born, painted bright to make the ending look like a beginning. Her mother said the economy moved like a weather. It blew in, it blew out, and nobody asked your permission. You learned to keep a raincoat by the door. On mornings when the river threw back a little light, the town looked like a promise. On others, the fog pressed low enough that even the stoplight seemed tired. Maya learned both versions by heart. On her desk, next to a coffee mug that said, "World's Most Okay-ish Human," a yellow post-it read, "Q4 pitch, Monday, 9 a.m." It had been there for 3 weeks, gathering corners of dust like a small, unspoken dare. Sunday night arrived like a bruise. She drafted slides until the fonts argued with each other. She checked the brand guide. She tried to make enthusiasm out of the words cross-channel synergy, which sounded like a spell you swallowed the wrong way. At midnight, she whispered, "God help," to no one in particular. Maya shut the laptop and looked at her brother, Eli, asleep on the couch, the game controller still in his hand. She put a blanket over him and thought, "I am doing this for us." But a quieter voice said, "You are also doing this to yourself." Both could be true. The bus came late. The slides froze. Mr. Klein frowned. The client's camera cut in and out like a blinking lighthouse. Maya's throat went dry, the way it had during sophomore English when she had to recite a poem she hadn't memorized. She tried to keep her voice steady. She tried to remember the line about share a voice lift. She tried to believe any of it mattered more than the electricity bill magneted to her fridge with a novelty bottle cap. Trying had always been her religion, but belief, real belief, wavered. After the call, Mr. Klein sighed. "You're usually sharper, Maya. Everything okay?" She nodded, because that's what people do when tears are coming. He said, "Great, keep pushing," as if that were a cure. As the elevator doors slid shut, a woman with peppermint lipstick stepped in and glanced at Maya's laptop bag, cutting into her shoulder. "You look like you're carrying the building," she said, not unkindly. Maya laughed, surprised into it. "Feels like it." "Name's Cora," the woman said. "Community health clinic down the block. We teach stress management now. Used to be we just handed folks pamphlets and told them to breathe." She rolled her eyes. "Pamphlets don't babysit your thoughts." The elevator dinged. Cora handed Maya a card with a tiny blue water droplet printed on it. "If you ever want to try something gentler than try harder, come by." The doors opened. Cora stepped out. Maya tucked the card into her pocket like a folded map. On Wednesday, Maya sat with her mother in a waiting room where everything was beige and the TV remixed the news into a fog of cheerful fear. Her mother's hands were bird-light and paper-thin, the kind of hands that had peeled 1,000 potatoes and held 1,000 griefs. The nurse called her mother's name, and the two disappeared into a hallway that smelled like rubbing alcohol. Maya watched a toddler fling crackers and thought of Eli's first school concert, the way he had forgotten the words and made up his own, loudly and joyfully, because not knowing was not, to him, a failure. She wondered when she had decided it was one for her. That evening, Maya walked into the community health clinic. The chairs were vinyl, the fluorescent lights hummed like faraway bees, and a poster on the wall said, "You are not a machine." She almost turned around just for that sentence alone. Cora greeted her with a grin. "Welcome to the wild experiment," she said. "We're trying to teach trying's cousin, care." They sat in a circle, a mechanic, a retiree with a crossword book, a barista, a nurse, a high school teacher. People introduced themselves with small truths. "I can't finish a single book anymore. My chest hurts when the rent's due. I snap at customers and then cry in the walk-in cooler." The room nodded and did not fix each other. Cora handed out index cards. "Write one thing you're not going to try harder at this week, but you will give it gentler attention." Maya stared at her card. She wrote, "Being everything to everyone." She felt silly. She felt relieved. Cora taught them to box breathe. 4 counts in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. She taught them to ask, "Compared to what?" when their inner critic screamed that they were behind, a failure, not enough. Compared to the person on the magazine cover? Compared to the inflated idea of a perfect self? Compared to last month Maya, who had fewer tools but the same heart? On the way home, the river held a slice of moon just for the drama of it. Maya breathed in for 4s and counted the glittering windows of the apartment building across the street, as if each one might hold a small permission. The next morning, Maya told Mr. Klein she couldn't take on the extra client. She said it calmly, with the same energy she used to order a turkey sandwich. He blinked, surprised. "We need all hands," she said. "I'm offering you 2 good hands, not 4 frantic ones." There was a stillness after that sentence, and in that stillness, Maya felt a sort of quiet win. He grumbled, negotiated, assigned the extra work elsewhere. She did not apologize. She sent her deliverables on time and drank water and took a lunch break outside, where a dog in a bandana looked up like joy in a fursuit. Boundaries, she learned, aren't walls. They're doors you learn how to close gently. That Friday, Eli convinced her to go see the Riverbend Ravens play under the field lights. The bleachers creaked with history. The national anthem snagged on the wind. Teens in hoodies traded snacks and rumors. Maya found herself cheering louder than she meant to. She remembered the golden ache of sprinting, that last straightaway, the brassy taste of effort, the way your lungs burn and then become a cathedral. Trying wasn't the enemy. It was the worship of trying that had made her small. After the game, she and Eli walked home with nachos wrapped in foil. "You good?" he asked, voice all casual corners. "Getting there," she said. "It feels like learning to breathe with 2 lungs again." Back at her apartment, Maya rewrote her to-do list. She divided it into must, could, and only if inspired. She laughed at the last column, then added 3 items just to feel what hope looked like. She set a 25-minute timer and worked, then stood up, stretched, watched the street for 1 minute. She discovered that the work shrank when it was not asked to be her entire identity. It wasn't magic, not the fireworks kind. It was more like discovering you've been clenching your jaw for 5 years and finally letting it go. Small, private, astonishing relief. A woman at the bus stop cried into a phone. "I'm doing everything right and I'm still failing," she said. Her voice ricocheted off the shelter's scratched glass. Maya caught her eye and, without words, offered a napkin from her pocket, the kind that clings with a little static. The woman nodded thanks, ended the call, exhaled a storm. "I hate giving up," she said, to no one, to everyone. "What if it's not giving up?" Maya said, surprising herself. "What if it's the rest phase? Muscles needed to grow." The woman stared, then laughed once. The bus arrived. They boarded like two sailors who had just seen the lighthouse. Cora introduced the group to a room in the clinic labeled quiet. It was just 4 walls, a plant that leaned earnestly toward the window, and a chair you could sink into without the chair complaining. 10 minutes, Cora said. No phone, no fixing. Let the trying switch to idle. Maya sat and noticed everything. The tick of the clock, the faraway siren, the way her thoughts were noisier than both. She did not become enlightened. She did get up afterward and feel the edges of things more kindly aligned. For homework, they wrote letters to their younger selves. Maya wrote to the girl with the sprained ankle and the stubborn heart. "I'm proud of you for running. I'm proud of you for stopping. I'm sorry no one told you that both are forms of bravery." She told that younger Maya that mistakes were not handcuffs. There were mile markers. She folded the letter and put it in a shoebox with old ribbons and a chipped state championship pin that still smelled like winter gym floors. Sometimes healing comes in envelopes. A storm bullied the town and the apartment went dark. Eli lit 2 candles like ancient sailors mapping stars. The refrigerator grumbled to silence. The Wi-Fi blinked off. The world thinned to flicker and breath. "What now?" Eli asked. "Board games," Maya said. They played until the candles made halos of themselves and laughter stitched the room together. Trying had always felt like electricity to her. Necessary, invisible, punishing when misused. That night, in the quiet, she learned a version of life that did not hum at 60 hertz. On Saturday morning, Maya laced her shoes and went to the high school track. Cold air, empty stands, a gull laughing rudely at nothing. She jogged a lap, then walked 3, heart steady, breath patient. She remembered her coach yelling, "Lean into the curve." The curve felt like life itself, how you keep moving even when straight lines abandon you. She stopped to stretch and watched the clouds drift, unbothered by schedules, formed by conditions and the grace of wind. On the way home, she bought oranges and a bouquet of supermarket daisies. Both felt like decisions that deserved applause. Maya started to practice a new sentence. "No thank you." She removed the footnote she used to add. "Unless you really need me, if no one else can, I can do it at midnight." It was a small edit with cathedral echoes. She said it to a colleague who tried to slide his task onto her desk. She said it to a friend who always picked the loudest bar. She even said it to herself in the mirror, about the story that she was only worthy when she was useful. Oddly, she became more helpful to the right things. Late one night, Mr. Klein sent a bristly email about metrics. Old Maya would have responded immediately, heart-pounding, fingers blazing, trying to outrun the criticism. Newer Maya drafted a reply, saved it, and went to sleep. In the morning, she edited the sharp edges, added 3 concrete points, removed the apology that didn't belong to anything, and hit send after coffee. The day did not collapse. Klein wrote back, "Good points." The sky did not crack open, but something inside her did, just a little, in the sweetest way. At the clinic, Cora asked them to write the names of 5 people who made their days lighter. Maya wrote Eli, Mom, Mrs. Alvarez from the bodega, who always slipped in extra cilantro, her neighbor, Mr. Drew, who knew every bird, and, to her surprise, Cora. Then Cora said, "Now, how will you be one of those people for someone else this week?" The group groaned and then smiled. Sometimes the antidote to exhaustion is not solitude, but the right kind of together. Maya brought muffins to the waiting room on her mom's next appointment day. She didn't post about it. She didn't make it a brand. She just watched strangers eat warm blueberries and thought, this counts. Near dusk, Maya stood by the river. A family taught a little boy to cast a line. The water kept making its old choices, go around, go over, make sound against stone. She imagined her trying like that, shaped by conditions, less forced, more patient, a conversation with gravity and chance. She liked that picture better than the old one, a clenched jaw, a white-knuckled hold on every outcome. She tossed a pebble and watched the ripples stitch the surface into brief embroidery. Then they returned to plain water, as all peaks do. Even joy can be gentle. At the next pitch meeting, Maya said, "We need to adjust our assumptions. The data tells a different story than the deck." The room went quiet. A junior designer looked relieved, like someone had opened a window. Mr. Klein grunted, then nodded. They changed course, and the client actually smiled. A first. Afterward, the junior designer found Maya in the hallway. "Thanks for saying what I was too afraid to say," she whispered. Maya thought of all the time she had swallowed her voice to be easier to manage. She felt the opposite of tired for a whole hour. That night, Maya dreamed she was running, but not away, from something toward something. The path was soft and new. Her breath was music. When she woke, the sky hadn't decided yet whether to be pink or gray. She made coffee and thought about dreams you grow into like shoes. She looked up community college courses in UX design, something she'd always been curious about. The tuition made her stomach flutter, but curiosity hummed louder than fear. She sent an inquiry. She did not promise herself she'd transform by Tuesday. She gave herself a year. Trying, she realized, can be a garden if you stop treating it like a factory. Maya started scheduling rest like a meeting with someone important. She learned her own early warning signals, the way her eyelid twitched, the way she defaulted to scrolling when she wanted to cry, the way coffee began to taste like apology. She kept snacks in her bag that were not just caffeine in disguise. She walked at lunch even when deadlines snarled. She checked on Eli's homework without turning it into a tooth-gritting saga. She let the laundry sit for an extra day without narrating it as personal failure. None of it went viral, all of it worked. Once upon a time, because stories loop, because beginnings hide inside endings, Maya stood on her apartment balcony with a cheap wind chime, singing its simple song. She thought of the girl who believed effort was a door only brute force could open. She loved that girl for surviving. She loved the woman who had learned to knock. If you feel tired of trying, she would tell you this: rest is not the enemy of progress, it is its oxygen. Boundaries do not make you smaller, they give your life a shape you can actually inhabit. Community is a power grid you don't have to build alone. Courage is as quiet as saying no, as loud as saying, "Actually, the data says," and as steady as breathing in force. Maya didn't become a different person, she became more herself. The rent still came due, the bus still ran late, the river still took its time. But when the world asked her to carry it, she learned to ask back, "Can we carry it together?" And then she did the next right thing, and the next, not harder, but kinder. That is how, in a town like a memory, and a life like a long, winding race, a girl with an easy name found a way to keep going, without breaking the parts of herself that most deserve to stay whole.